Good day, everyone. I am Japheth White Dave Pigilias, together with Bis Lanilin Malintad. We're here to report to you the short story of Leo Tolstoy, entitled God Sees the Truth, but Waits. First, we are here to tackle the author's background. Count Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy, usually referred to in English as Leo Tolstoy, was born on September 9, 1828 in Yasnaya Polyana, Russia. He went to law school but was sent home because his teachers found him completely unwilling to learn. He also became noted as a moral thinker and social reformer. His realistic fiction. His wife Sophia was 16 years younger than him, and they had a total of 13 children. He died because of pneumonia on November 20, 1910. He was 82 years old. His background of the work, first published in 1872. Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov is falsely imprisoned for 26 years for a crime he did not commit, but put his trust in God. Reinforces the biblical message that when the world is up against you, God alone knows the truth. Third, the characters and characterization of the story. Here are the characters of the story. First, we have Ivan Dmitrievich Aksionov. Second, Makar Semyonov. Third, Aksionov's merchant friends. And the last is Aksionov's wife. Ivan Dmitrievich Aksionov is the protagonist of the God Sees the Truth, but Waits. At the outset of the story, he is the youthful and prosperous merchant in the town of Vladimir, Russia. Next is Makar Semyonov. He arrives as a new inmate at the Siberian labor camp, where Aksionov is incarcerated during Aksionov's 26th year there. After Aksionov discusses with Makar the murder of which, or for which he was falsely imprisoned. Third, Aksionov's merchant friend, or what we call the unnamed merchant friend, is the victim of the murder for which Aksionov is falsely imprisoned. The fourth and last is the Aksionov's wife. At the beginning of the story, Aksionov's wife is a vague premonition of the suffering that awaits Aksionov when she has a nightmare in which her husband's beautiful curly hair turns completely gray. Next one is the character web of the story. Fifth is the settings. The story happened in the town of Vladimir, where Ivan Dmitrich Aksionov lived, and in Siberia, where Aksionovs were imprisoned for 20 years. The sixth part of the story is the 10 main events. First, once upon a time, in the land of Vladimir, a young merchant named Ivan Dmitri Aksionov lived with his family. He was in his young life and very happy by experiencing luxurious things that was offered by the world. One day of summer, when he was about to go to Nizhny Fair as he planned, his wife warned him not to go. She told him that he had a bad dream. She said, "I dreamed you returned from the town with hair of gray." Ivan laughed and showed him as he didn't care and continued on going to the fair. In the halfway of his traveling, he met a merchant. He drank tea with him at the night and shared a room in the inn. Aksionov did not use to sleep for long hours, so he decided to wake up and continue his journey. While he was in the way of his journey, he was stopped by two soldiers in Trukya to begin asking questions. Their questions were about the merchant that he met on the travel and spent time with him, for he was found dead. As all evidence of the crime were pointing guiltiness of Aksionov, he was imprisoned. When his wife heard this bad news, she remembered her dream. She was very worried to her husband and thought that her husband was guilty. Aksionov felt sadder when she realized this thought. 26 years in prison made Aksionov a well-grounded and God-fearing man. Then came a new prisoner named Makar Semyonov. After a while, they knew each other. Aksionov discovered that Makar was killed the merchant. One night, while the prisoners were sleeping, Aksionov saw the Makar dug the earth Makar told him not to tell anyone about he has seen or else he would kill him. At that time, they asked the prisoners who knew about the plan, but no one replied, since Makar warned them if they declared anything, they would be killed. Finally, the governor asked Ivan, for he was the most generous man, but Ivan said, "It is not my job and I don't care." At the night, when Aksionov was on his bed and about to sleep, Makar went to him to thank him. He felt very sorry, for he made Aksionov suffer for all these years. He did not want to forgive till he solved to Aksionov. Then said, "The Lord will forgive you." Makar said that he will confess to the governor so that Ivan would be free. In fact, since Aksionov had no family, neither home, he did not want to go out of prison. Rather, he waited for his last hour to come. In spite of what they've talked about, Makar Semkenik confessed his guilt, but when the order for Ivan Dmitriev Aksionov release came, he was already dead.
Style of the author. The tone of the story is human's depression and sorrow, which is very tragic and sympathetic. We can see the sympathetic depression of Aksionov when Makar asking Aksionov for forgiveness. He replied, "It is easier for you to talk," said Aksionov, "but I have suffered for you these 26 years. Where could I go to now? My wife is dead and my children have forgotten me. I have nowhere to go." And the purpose of Tolstoy in giving Aksionov's suffering is to show us a good example of real generous man. He wants to tell us that God knows everything but does not appear the reality purposefully. It doesn't mean that he hates people but examines them so that they realize their real personality. Conflict. Man versus society. Here, the first conflict is presented in the story when Ivan stops for a short break, and suddenly an officer with two soldiers appear and interrogate with him about the merchant who was found with his throat cut. Man versus man. Ivan confronts with the authority again while they discover a secret tunnel made for eloping. The governor interrogates with Ivan to tell his knowledge truthfully about the tunnel. Since Ivan knows the truth about the tunnel, as he found Makar digging it at the middle of the night, he had been threatened to be killed by Makar if he says a word about it. And the man versus self. Ivan gets to his final conflict with himself, while Makar comes to him at night confiding of being the one who murdered the merchant and now seek for the forgiveness from him. The point of view. The point of view in the story is third person because it focuses on the character of Aksionov. Themes. The major themes in the story are guilt, forgiveness, faith, conflict, freedom, and acceptance. The story has presented all these themes. Among these themes, forgiveness is one of the greatest themes. And the last one is the cultural implications. The title is ambiguous that makes the reader to read the story so as to find the ambiguity. Throughout the short story, he pointed on some perspectives such as religion, society, and politician. Through the characteristics of Aksionov, he viewed that people must believe in God and His power, and he pointed out that religious people should be gentle and calm in difficult situations. Furthermore, he showed us that sometimes you cannot use what you have in society. Aksionov was rich. He had 2 ships and a house, but at the end, he couldn't use them and even live with his family. In addition, although he was innocent, but he and his wife couldn't win the court because they didn't have witness. Finally, the writer tells the reader that when people let someone down, God will pick him up.